I've finally done it, everyone. I can return to YouTube. Because I've bought it. A brand new MacBook. You know what that means? It means I can edit videos again because my last MacBook shat itself. So now I can make videos when I want to make videos. I'm so excited. Soon I'll be back in my studio because I've bought a new desk. I'm getting reset again. I don't have to sit on a stool in my bedroom. Things are happening again. I'm excited. Life is good. And life is even better right now because of the latest Westeros-based show that has graced us. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is everything that I needed to see right now in my life. For those of you that don't know, Game of Thrones, I was obsessed with that during its whole run. I probably started watching as season 3 was coming out up till the very end. I saw the downfall, I saw the rise and the fall, and I have seen Game of Thrones seasons 1 to 4, those 4 seasons at least 15 times. An insane number of times. I have Jon Snow's longsword in that wardrobe back there. I have the Catspore dagger in that wardrobe back there. I've read the books at least 3 times each. I love this world. I love everything about it. And since 2016, a decade, we really haven't had anything that's made me super excited like A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms has this year. See this thing? This is a proper heavy thing. This is Longclaw. That's what it's called. Jon Snow's sword. Anyway, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. It's everything I needed it to be. What is it about? What does it do better than House of the Dragon and the later seasons of Game of Thrones? Quite simply, it's exciting to watch. It's not depressing. It doesn't do anything truly stupid. I like the characters. I like the music. I like the way it looks. Everything about it is awesome. So you might be thinking, oh, Mickey, didn't you like season 1 of House of the Dragon? And yes, I did. But there was always something about House of the Dragon, season 1, and then even worse in season 2, that it didn't have a rewatchability about it. It was a very icky, dark, morbid kind of story. None of the characters are really likable. It's like just the worst of the worst. Very little comedy, if at all, in that series. And the way House of the Dragon looks, not talking about the CGI, but the cinematography, it looks blurry, foggy. I don't know, something about it just isn't visually appealing to me. Going back to A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, it just hits everything you want it to hit. And it's shorter and cheaper than Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, which just goes to show you don't need extravagance, spectacle, all this BS to tell gripping stories. Apparently the viewership of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is incredibly high. And this, it's got a terrible title. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is a terrible title, really? And I think the Game of Thrones world and fandom isn't, clamoring for new spin-off shows like it might have 10 years ago. So you've got to wonder, is this audience all just built-in Game of Thrones audience? Or is the show actually attracting new people because of the word of mouth and the trailers? And I don't know, but I gotta say, I'm just fucking glad it is as popular as it is and as good as it is. As I said, I'm watching this show, and admittedly, I caught up with all of it after season 5, episode 5 came out. I watched the first 5 seasons back to back to back to back. If I was watching this weekly, I don't know if it would have held up quite as well, because each episode is only about 30 minutes, and it isn't a nation-sprawling, complex Game of Thrones style story being told here. It's very cute, small scale. It gets very serious, large scale by the end. There's one thing I want to say. So, I have for months spoken about how no movies, no TV shows have really just given me that passion, that drive, that spark to speak about them. Fallout most recently. Episode 5 is when you have this massive trial of 7, this huge medieval joust fight sequence between 14 men. And let me tell you, the the cinematography, the music, the heroism on display, the speeches in the episode prior, and the sequence where our main character, Dunk, sort of rises from the dead to fight on, with the music swelling and everything happening. It was one of those rare moments that I haven't seen in so long of a strong, heroic character facing the odds, being glorified as such, the music, the cinematography. And me just sitting there thinking, and I'm getting goosebumps. I'm doing the rock thing right now, thinking of it and thinking of the music. I just thought, fuck yeah. And I haven't thought, fuck yeah, watching anything in ages. So if you get me to watch your show and think, fuck yeah, you've done something right. If you get me at the gym listening to your soundtrack and going, fuck yeah, you're doing something right. I've recently started rewatching Game of Thrones again. I never wanted to watch that show again after the 8th season, and haven't. Since 2019, I haven't seen Game of Thrones. I started rewatching it. I've almost finished season 1 now. If your show can make me want to do that, fuck yeah. The show is about these two characters, Dunk and Egg, forming an unlikely friendship. Shenanigans happen. The Targaryens, the blonde-haired guys, are involved yet again. And like any story that they're involved in, there's a lot of fucking drama. Basically, our main character, Dunk, has to traverse his way through these shenanigans, and it can be quite violent, shocking, surprising. The characters in the show are the best part. That's what holds it up. Dunk is amazing. The guy that is playing him is such a down-to-earth, cool dude from all the behind-the-scenes videos I've seen. I love seeing these kind of guys, these just guys, just normal dudes, get these roles and just demonstrate to the world that, you know what, actors can just be normal dudes. Not all of them go to the island. The young kid, Dexter, his name is just, he's brilliant. I like to think about the prequels, the Star Wars prequels. If they had just cast those movies better and George Lucas didn't direct them, because the story's there in those prequels. If you had a young actor like this kid who shows great range between the cutesy innocence and the darkness towards the end of the season, if you had someone like this kid playing Anakin Skywalker back in the day, what the Star Wars prequels could have been. It's the world's biggest missed opportunity. All of Dunk's friends, Lionel Baratheon, Raymond Fossaway, all the characters, fantastic. All the little weird characters. Sir Arlen, I've never seen an actor play a crazy drunk so well in my life. Fantastic. The cinematography is the best in any Game of Thrones project. Game of Thrones, you rewatch that, and that's very sort of that mid-early 2010 style of TV show. Game of Thrones paved the way for all that we have now in terms of TV. How cinematic, epic, and serialized TV is now. It's Game of Thrones really that took it from the Sopranos, Breaking Bad era into this era. It was like the bridge. Game of Thrones cinematography though, it plays it more safe. It's full frame. It's not as, there's not as much movement, handheld. I don't think Game of Thrones ever really used much handheld except for in those later seasons in some of the battles. For the most part, that was pretty steady, traditional TV. Then you got House of the Dragon, which I said is just a murky mess in terms of cinematography, in my opinion. This show is vibrant, and, the composition, just everything about it is remarkable. Some of those jousting shots and the stunt work on display is immensely impressive. You watch these things and you're like, holy fuck! Imagine being a peasant back in the day, getting pissed on some red wine at 8 a.m, going to watch your local tourney, watching a joust and seeing this shit happen. Insane! We should bring back jousting today. The music as well. I don't know who did the music. I should have looked it up, but the music's great. There was jazz in the final episode. Awesome. I love jazz. There's like this whistling melody that plays when Dunk and Egg are together, just, doing simple things like cooking breakfast and that. Love it. As I said, the moment where Dunk rises as a hero, pulls up his sword. Epic. It's got it all, this show. The writing is strong. There are moments that, are a bit weird. Some sort of shocking gags and visual jokes that I'm just like, okay, didn't need it. Doesn't take away from anything, but didn't need it. I mean, there's nothing I can say about the show that I disliked. I really loved everything about it. I could watch it all again right now. This show has made me start daydreaming again. I've been so indifferent to film and TV and just storytelling in general for months now. And in the last week, the amount of notes I've taken on my phone, little story ideas I've written in my own head, the passion has come back to me, and I didn't think it was possible. I'm truly actually passionate, excited to talk about this and watch it and do my own creative stuff again. It's lit a spark in my ass, and I really, 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 really appreciate that about this show. And I look forward to a second season. The fact that the show is short too means they're going to pump out season after season within a year, like the old days. Remember when TV only took a year to turn around to get a next season? Isn't that beautiful? No dragons, no CGI bullshit, just a simple story. And what does it do? It garners the attention of a worldwide audience again and gets rave reviews. Good time to be a fan of the Seven Kingdoms.